Yes. Catch Up as a Spy. Now, there's something weird about this Ben Affleck performance, I thought, quarter of an hour into viewing The Catch Up as a Spy on the tiny screen of an interminable transatlantic flight a few weeks back. The odd thing, it turns out, was that it's a Paul Rudd performance, so you may want to keep that level of attention and viewing in mind before placing too much stock in any of these opinions about to divulge. Anyway, here we're plunged into 40s America, just before their entrance to World War II, and introduced to Rudd's Moe Berg, coming to the end of his days as a catcher for the Boston Red Sox. However, and at the risk of spoiling things, the bulk of this film is concerned with his wartime activities where he was a spy. Berg was a highly intelligent, highly educated man, Princeton educated, studying 7 languages, and just the sort of man the CIA's forerunner, the OIS, could use. The main through line is regarding efforts by Jeff Daniels' General Bill Donovan to ascertain how far along the Nazi atom bomb program is, headed up by Mark Strong, him again, Mark Strong's Werner Heisenberg. To that end, Berg, along with Paul Giamatti's Samuel Goldsmith, the noted physicist, and Guy Pearce's Robert Furman, a more military-minded OIS bod, are dispatched to Europe to get a handle on things by crossing front lines to interview Heisenberg's colleagues, ultimately leading to an order for Berg to make a call on whether or not to assassinate Heisenberg. Now, there's an uncertainty principle for you. The other arm of this film is Berg's secretive private life, in which, at least as presented here, he's bisexual in a time when both the bi and the sexual parts of that were not spoken of, so perhaps not knowing all that much about it, for sure, is not quite as unusual as the film presents. It does, however, represent the biggest challenge for this film to overcome, inasmuch as it's not like any aspect of this film outside of the baseball is really a matter of record, so based on a true story holds about as much water here as it usually does. I enjoyed this film well enough. Rudd is, as always, a likeable lead, and there's a really great supporting cast that, well, do quite a lot with quite a little. The script is a little on the thin side, and perhaps that's unavoidable given that it's a character study of someone very averse to being studied, so it can't go in too heavy on the specifics as they just been invented. A conundrum, and one which the film seems content to brazen out with charm and polish. It has both in spades, and along with it being a subject I had no prior knowledge of, makes it a very easy watch. It's not, however, one that would trouble any awards, and perhaps doesn't hold up to any intense scrutiny. That tracks well enough with the overall mediocre score I've seen on review aggregators, and I suppose in terms of a general recommendation I'll agree it's a diverting enough couple of hours, but it's not worth going out of your way to see.
Yeah, it's okay, this film. I had no idea about the story. I guess very few people did. It seems to have been a tremendously secretive character, which does make the whole trying to base a film on this character a real problem, as you mentioned, Scott, and also, which basically means this is all built for vast tracks of the film. It may be reasonable, but nonetheless. So, yeah, it's quite interesting to see Paul Rudd do this. I think that's probably the most interesting about the film is Paul Rudd doing this straight role. Apparently it's bad for him though, because doing a straight role is the first time I've ever seen Paul Rudd not look like he did 20 years ago. Paul Rudd is apparently Hollywood's Dorian Gray. And this is the first time I thought, actually he looks like, maybe at least 2 or 3 years older than he normally looks. Now, he has done one other straight-ish role that I can recall having seen him in, but that was a role in which I thought he was woefully miscast, and that was the rather terrible film Mute,
yes.
Which we disliked some time ago. And he's much better placed in this. He's, again, because there's so little of the character to see, because the character's so little known, the interest is actually Paul Rudd, not the character. And I think he's really quite impressive with this. I don't know how much of this is him actually knowing languages and how much of it is him just doing it phonetically, but even if he's doing it phonetically, he speaks in at least 4 different languages in this film, and it all sounds really impressive.
Yeah.
Because apart from English, obviously, there's Japanese, there's Italian, there's German, there may be French at some point, and he sounds fluent. So again, whether that's acting skill or actual language skill, I don't know, but I'm quite impressed by that. You don't get much of a chance to show that off in Marvel films, for instance.
Yeah.
The problem of the film is that the story is a bit slight.
Yeah.
And the characters are a bit slight. It's got a fantastic cast, but most of them, notably Mark Strong, don't have an awful lot to do.
Yeah.
Mark Strong does, of course, get to sport yet another awesome wig in his collection of bewigged roles, of which he is in double digits now, at least, possibly high double digits. Yeah, I just wanted a bit more because the character of Mo Berg is so not a character almost. I want more, and that's kind of, I was left feeling rather unsatisfied by it by the end because I just wanted to know more, and also the way it finishes is a bit. So, was Heisenberg a good guy or a bad guy?
Who can say?
I know people don't know. That's the point of the film is that historians are still debating it, but well, take a stance.
Yeah.
There's presumably a consensus on which is more likely, or what was the other issue I have is that this is yet another film that persists in casting people who can't do accents to do accents. Tom Wilkinson has a complete inability to do any accent but his own. Why does he keep getting cast with non-English accents? I don't understand it, but it happens all the time. And he's not any good at it.
It's an elaborate running joke, I think. Yeah.
It could be. And likewise, Paul Giamatti, who I like a lot. I think Paul Giamatti's fantastically entertaining. But this professor that he's supposed to be, he's Dutch, I think. He's mostly just Paul Giamatti sounding a bit odd.
Yes.
But yeah, it's only like 90 minutes or something, this film, isn't it? I think if you came across this of an evening, it's probably worth 90 minutes of your time just out of interest. I wouldn't make any effort to find it necessarily, but it's interesting.